The moment I opened my eyes and saw Lin Qiyu walking towards me, I knew I had failed to go home again. The 9th attempt had failed. This was my 10th rebirth. Lin Qiyu stopped in front of me, staring at me with a lazy, insolent look. You just won't give up, will you? How can someone be so pathetic? Now, go and... I stared at him blankly, no longer hearing a word he said. I lifted my head, met his gaze with steely resolve, pulled the hairpin from my hair, and in one swift motion, drove it deep into his throat. He clutched his throat, staring at me in utter disbelief. Blood sprayed across my face. You're the one who's worthless. You don't deserve to be alive. I've been reborn 9 times to win over Lin Qiyu, and if I succeed, I can finally return to my own world. However, no matter what I do, I always fail to succeed. This is the 10th time. I can't take it anymore. I just want Lin Qiyu dead. My eyes fluttered open once more, and I saw Lin Qiyu storming towards me, muttering curses under his breath. That familiar, mechanical voice echoed in my mind again. Ding, mission assigned. Successfully win over Lin Qiyu, make him happy, and the host can return to the original world. This was the 10th time I had been reborn. In the first 7 attempts to win him over, I met my end in every way imaginable. Car crashes, cliff falls, drowning. Some died from his mischief, others from trying to save him, and some were even killed directly by him. On my 8th rebirth, I thought maybe he just didn't like me, so for his own happiness, I stayed away, but to keep me by his side, he captured me and starved me to death. 9th rebirth, I endured his insults and violence, stayed by his side, and eventually married him, caring for him until his very last breath. That time, I gave my whole life for him. I resisted every impulse to end my own life, or to take his. I thought I had finally made it. In that moment I closed my eyes. I fantasized about suddenly being back with Mom and Dad, and how overjoyed they would be. I'm just so exhausted. I miss them so much. I'd give anything for a taste of my mom's cooking right now. But things didn't go as planned. Seeing Lin Qiyu's face again now, I felt nothing inside. He walked towards me, his expression dark as he glared. A voice thick with rage erupted. Ren Jia, you're truly pathetic. Can't you live without a man? One call and you come running. He made a bet with his good-for-nothing friends that I'd drink those bottles of wine for him, even with my alcohol allergy, just because he told me to. His close friends behind him were laughing at me. Wow, Mr. Lin, you really know how to work your magic. Just one call and she's here, not even changed out of her pajamas. Oh, come on, maybe she's just eager to get into bed with Mr. Lin, a toad lusting after a swan's flesh. How desperate can you get? Looks like she's definitely going to drink those bottles. What rotten luck. I'm going to lose again. I'm allergic to alcohol. They all know that. It seems I've been reborn into my 9th life. In the last one, I did drink it, and they had to remove half my stomach. In my previous life, during my university years, I developed stomach issues due to poor eating habits. My mother diligently studied books and consulted various nutritionists, spending over half a year to nurse my stomach back to health. In my past life, I drank and wept, saying sorry to my mother. But I had to drink, because I missed home so much. He stared at me with an impatient expression, his handsome features unable to conceal the fury in his eyes. Go on, drink that wine. Don't give me any excuse about allergies. This time the bet is a car, and I have to win. In my past life, when I explained my allergy to him, he slapped me across the face, grabbed me by the hair, and dragged me to the banquet table. He pressed the broken bottle against my neck. Stop pretending, you're here now, so you're drinking for me. Don't make me lose face, or I'll fucking kill you. I ended up drinking all that liquor, only to be called a bitch in return. In my previous life, after that drinking session, he married me, but our married life was like living in hell. My skin was never whole again. He's a madman. He'd hit me when he was drunk, hit me when he was angry, and even hit me for no reason at all. I clenched my fists, gritted my teeth, and stared at him. This life, I won't endure it anymore. I just want him dead. At that moment, seeing that I remained silent, he furrowed his brow, took a step closer, and just as his hand was about to strike my face, I fixed him with a determined gaze, then swiftly pulled the hairpin from my head and drove its sharp end into his throat with force. Blood gushed out instantly, splattering across my face. His eyes widened, and he stared at me in disbelief. A hand pressed to his throat. Ho, you. He tried to speak, but spat out a mouthful of blood too. I clenched my teeth and pushed the hairpin in a little deeper. You're the one who's worthless. You don't deserve to live. That mechanical voice only appears once in each life, and I really want to scream at it. What right does someone like Lin Qiyu, a scumbag, have to deserve happiness? He deserves to die. Lin Qiyu's body kept sliding downward, his eyes wide open, filled with unyielding resentment. Screams erupted, and people around fled in panic, plunging the scene into chaos in the blink of an eye. I opened my eyes to find myself standing at the airport, looking around. I saw crowds everywhere. In the distance, I spotted Lin Qiyu approaching me with a dark expression, flanked by his bodyguards. I've been reborn again. This is my 8th life. I saw him for who he truly was, convinced he would always despise me, unwilling to endure his torment any longer. I resolved to leave the country and escape him, but he was like a demon. He dragged me back, threw me into the basement, and yanked my hair. Ren Jia, he snarled, you can never leave me, you'll die by my side. In the end, I starved to death in that basement. Now, as he drew closer, I slowly tightened my grip on the hairpin in my hand, watching Lin Qiyu approach with cold detachment. He spread his arms open, looking at me with a half-smile. Ren Jia, how could you leave without my permission? Come back with me quietly, and I might go easy on you. The corner of my mouth lifted slightly. Without a word, I took a step forward, grabbed his tie, and drove the hairpin swiftly and precisely into his throat. Blood instantly sprayed across my face. Ah! Screams erupted from the surroundings. He clutched his neck, staring at me with a look of sheer panic. I watched him fall, my face expressionless. You'll never get another chance to hurt me. Die. Lin Qiyu breathed his last with a heart full of resentment. 3. In an instant, I opened my eyes to find myself standing by the pool, drenched and shivering. I stood there, shivering from the cold. Lin Qiyu stood before me, handsome and aloof, his expression cold and arrogant. Ren Jia, jump back in now and retrieve the ring for me. The woman walking beside him, holding his arm, looked shyly embarrassed. Oh, come on, Ren Jia is your girlfriend now, after all, and she doesn't seem to know how to swim. Doesn't that kind of put her at a disadvantage? Lin Qiyu's thin lips curled into a faint, cold smirk. What girlfriend? Just a desperate bitch throwing herself at me. If I acknowledge her, she's my girlfriend. If I don't, she's just a worthless bitch. I remember now. This is the 7th lifetime. The woman beside Lin Qiyu is his childhood sweetheart. In this lifetime, Lin Qiyu confessed to me a few days ago. To successfully win him over, I agreed to become his girlfriend, but it was just a bet he made with someone else in this life. He was the death of me. I couldn't swim, so I refused to jump. He kicked me in instead. When I cried for help in the water, he forbade anyone from saving me, leaving me to drown before everyone's eyes. I hadn't even figured out how to win him over, but he reached out to me first. I did nothing, yet he ended up killing me. Seeing me just standing there in silence, he stalked over impatiently. Damn it, you think my words don't mean shit anymore? I told you to get your ass down there and pick it up. You're not going anywhere until you bring it back to me today. My eyes were red-rimmed as I stared at him, just as he raised his hand to grab my throat. I swiftly grabbed the fruit knife from the nearby table and plunged it deep into his abdomen. One stab wasn't enough. I pulled it out and drove it in again. I yanked it free once more and stabbed again, putting all my strength into driving it to the hilt. Blood sprayed into my eyes, yet I only felt a growing, savage satisfaction. Lin Qiyu clutched his wound, his face contorted in pain yet still burning with fury. He staggered and collapsed onto a nearby chair, blood spilling everywhere. He stared at me in utter disbelief, stammering, you, people all around were running in panic, screaming in every direction. I let out a cold laugh, no longer wanting to hear his nonsense. Lin Qiyu, you bastard, wasn't it you who confessed to me? Yet you're spreading lies that I was the one chasing you. You're the real bastard. I didn't do anything, yet you want to kill me. Go die, die. I roared at the top of my lungs, collapsing weakly onto the blood-soaked ground. Lin Qiyu's body slid to the ground, his blood staining the entire pool crimson. For I didn't close my eyes. Watching the objects around me twist and shift in an instant, I turned my head and found myself in the center of the hotel. A banquet is underway, with beautiful melodies playing and people around gracefully dancing. This is the 6th life. Tonight, the Lin family is hosting a banquet, and Lin Qiyu personally invited me, even giving me a dress. He forced me to dance in the middle of the hall. As I raised my arm, my entire dress slipped to the floor, standing there in nothing but pasties. I panicked and tried to run, but Lin Qiyu rushed toward me with a crowd of people, all holding up their phones. He blocked my path, refusing to let me leave. They took photos and videos of me and uploaded them online. In an instant, I became a public scandal, branded a shameless woman for everyone to condemn. Lin Qiyu waved his phone in front of me and sneered, "Ha, Ren Jia, who are you trying to seduce by wearing this dress on purpose? TSK, what big, pale breasts." Overnight, the whole world saw my body. I was cornered in the house and ended up taking pills to end my life. At this moment, I watched Lin Qiyu, who was leaning lazily against the table, From across the crowd, he looked at me with a sinister, half-smile, like a demon poised to lunge and tear me apart at any second. I looked back at him, my lips silently forming the words, "Long time no see, Lin Chiyue," seeing me just standing there, refusing to dance. He muttered a curse under his breath and stalked toward me, grumbling. I gathered my skirt and approached a passing waiter, plucking a fork from their tray. Lin Chiyue approached me with a face full of rage. "You wretch, why haven't you started dancing yet? How long do you expect me to wait, you?" I looked at him with unwavering eyes, as if the two of us were the only people in the world. "Go to hell, what?" Before he could react, I grabbed the fork and plunged it into his eye. "Pull it out." Then thrust it hard into his throat. Blood sprayed across my face once more. He looked at me with fear, trying to pull my hand away, but I pushed in even harder. "Ah!" He let out a cry of pain. Guests around began screaming and scattering in all directions. He clutched the wound on his neck, eyes wide with shock. Why would you?" I stared at him coldly. "Because you're a bastard, and you deserve to die. You gave me this dress yourself, yet you have the nerve to call me shameless. If you think this is so amusing, then fine. I'll play along." I pushed the fork in a little deeper. Upstairs, Lin Chiyue's parents were rushing toward us in panic. They were scumbags too. Back in my past life, after I was photographed, I knelt before them begging them to stop Lin Chiyue from uploading the video online. I told them the dress was given to me by Lin Chiyue, and I didn't take it off on purpose. They just glanced at me with disdain. "It's your own fault for being careless. Deserving of it if it ends up online. Maybe you're wearing that outfit on purpose, trying to land a rich husband, acting like some kind of stripper while pretending to be a chaste and virtuous woman." Everyone around me looked at me with disdain, all convinced I was a manipulative woman trying to hook a rich man. At that moment, I slumped to the ground in despair. "So, it takes a pair of scumbags to breed another scumbag. It's not enough, not nearly enough. They all deserve to die." 5. In an instant, I found myself standing in a dimly lit room, a shovel in my hands. A man lay on the ground, bleeding from his head. Lin Chiyue stood opposite me, his face etched with tension. This was the 5th lifetime to exact revenge on the Lin family. The rivals of Lin Chiyue's parents had kidnapped him. I had been standing right beside him. In trying to save him, I got taken along as well. The man on the ground was trying to chop off Lin Chiyue's arm, so I snuck up from behind and knocked him out with a shovel. During the escape, Lin Chiyue abandoned me to buy himself more time. I'll never forget that moment when I was pulling his hand, about to run out the door, but he yanked me to the ground, dashed out first, and slammed the door shut. He pressed his face against the door and whispered, "Rinjia, they're closing in. Buy me some time. I'll get help as soon as I'm back." With those words, he vanished from my sight in an instant. In the end, I was captured, but those men were nothing but animals. They took me back and gang raped me. I will never forget that agony. I don't know if Lin Chiyue ever brought help back for me, because they killed me on that bed. At this moment, I take a deep breath, glance at the man on the floor, then lift my head to stare coldly at Lin Chiyue standing before me. Trembling, he crouched down and checked the man's breathing. "He's still alive. Quick, run." He ran to the doorway and scanned the area. "Damn it, nothing good ever happens when you're around, Rinjia. I'm going to kill you when I get back." Hearing that, I almost laughed in disbelief. This is the difference between a beast and a decent person. I saved his life. Yet a scumbag like Lin Chiyue actually thinks I'm the one who got him into this. But it doesn't matter, he won't be going back. He's going to die here. A familiar mechanical voice suddenly echoed in my mind. "Alert, alert, host must complete the mission to win over the male lead, Lin Chiyue. If the male lead dies, you will be trapped in a time loop, causing mission failure. The host will never be able to return home." The sound of static crackled incessantly. ZZT, ZZT, ZZT. The corner of my mouth lifted in a slight smirk. "You've finally shown yourself. It seems you know exactly what I'm up to. Lin Chiyue deserves to die, and so do you." I gripped the shovel in my hand, walked silently behind Lin Chiyue, and said, "Lin Chiyue, you deserve to die." "What?" He had barely turned around when I swung the shovel with all my might. Smack. He instantly crumpled to the ground in pain. Smack, smack, smack. I didn't give him a chance to react. Just kept slapping him on the head. I widened my eyes and clenched my teeth. I said, "You're the one who deserves to die the most, you beast." 1, 2, 3 until I was completely exhausted. Blood pooled on the ground, and Lin Chiyue's body went completely still. Footsteps echoed in the distance. I opened my eyes, lying on the ground. 6 In an instant, the whole world seemed to spin, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. When I opened my eyes again, I was sitting in the classroom. The students around me were pointing and whispering about me. I glanced At the screen on the lectern, this was the fourth lifetime, and at this moment, both Lin Chiyue and I were students. He's a wealthy young master from a privileged family, while I'm just an ordinary student in this life. Lin Chiyue placed his expensive watch in my backpack and then told everyone he suspected I had stolen it. In the end, his cronies found his watch in my school bag in no time. The whole school knew who I was. Every day, there would be fresh small animal corpses on my desk, and someone was always calling me a thief. I was eventually expelled. Lin Chiyue's parents came to the school and forced me to kneel and apologize. I'll never forget the look on his mother's face. "You little bitch, how dare you steal from my son? Are your parents animals, or are they just dead?" She raised her hand and slapped me across the face. Pop, I had already said 100 times that I didn't steal it, but not a single person believed me. In the end, the teacher couldn't stand it anymore and called the police. It was only after reviewing the surveillance footage that my innocence was proven, yet they just casually remarked, "If you didn't steal it, why didn't you explain yourself earlier? You're just wasting everyone's time." No one cared about me. After the truth came out, Lin Chiyue just smiled at me. "Hee, it was just a joke. You don't mind, do you? Just a joke. But it could send me into depression and ultimately drive me to jump into a river and kill myself." 7. Just then, Lin Chiyue's voice cut through my thoughts. Leaning against the doorframe, he looked at me with a teasing grin. "The teacher's waiting for you. Bring your bag." I stood up, grabbed my bag, and as I passed the desk in front of me, I quietly picked up the fruit knife from her desk and hid it in my sleeve. All along the way, strange looks were cast in my direction. "Hey, Lin Xiao, where are you taking her? Did you get busted for dating?" One of Lin Chiyue's close buddies slung an arm around his shoulder and said. With a mischievous grin, Lin Chiyue glanced back at me and sneered, "Don't be ridiculous. How could I possibly be interested in this trash? She stole my watch. The teacher wants to see her." He spoke loudly enough for everyone in the hallway to hear. Whispers rose around me as I walked forward in silence, gripping the knife in my hand more tightly. Walking into the office, the teacher was talking with Lin Chiyue's parents. His parents shot me a dismissive glance. The teacher frowned. "Ren Jia, did you steal Lin's watch? If not, explain yourself quickly." I clutched my backpack tightly. "I did take it, but it's not in here. I left it in the empty classroom next door." "See, I told you she's a thief," Lin Chiyue's mother said to me angrily. "She doesn't even have the decency to look ashamed." How shameless. I ignored her and turned to look at Lin Chiyue beside me. "Would you come with me, Lin? I'll give it back to you." Lin Chiyue let out a cold laugh. "Fine." I walked indifferently towards the empty classroom, with Lin Chiyue trailing behind me in his usual sloppy manner. As he stepped into the empty room, I stood behind the door and quietly locked it. "So, Ren Jia," he said, "you brought me here to beg for forgiveness, is that it? Since we're alone, why don't you take off your clothes and let me take a few nude photos? Maybe I'll be in a good mood and let you off the hook." He had his back to me, rambling on to himself. 8. I stood behind him and called out softly, "Lin Chiyue, you're absolutely infuriating." He turned around, and the fruit knife instantly pierced through his pants, stabbing into his groin. Oh, the pain hit him instantly. He hunched over, stunned, and looked down in disbelief at the blood on his hand. I quickly stabbed him a second time. Only then did Lin Chiyue realize what was happening. He staggered backward and collapsed to the ground. Blood sprayed across my face. The pain grew more intense, and he curled up on the ground in agony, his face flushed red, eyes burning with anger and confusion. "Oh, that hurts, Ren Jia. Are you out of your mind?" I took slow, deliberate steps toward him, the bloodied knife tapping against his cheek. 1, 2, 3. I crouched down, pressing the knife against his throat. He instantly convulsed, staring at me with a face full of terror. "I'm not crazy. I just want to go home, but you torment me like a bitch. What did I ever do to you? We have nothing to do with each other, yet you torture me like this. You deserve to die. If I get close to you, you try to kill me. If I stay away, you still try to kill me. If that's the case, then why don't you just die?" Lin Chiyue clutched his wound, feeling the knife at his neck press in a little deeper. His face was a mask of panic. I was wrong, Ren Jia. I was just doing it for fun. Please let me go." "Okay, I'll never hurt you again." I picked up the backpack from the floor, took out the watch inside, and threw it at him. He backed away in fear, shouting, "Help, help. You madman, when my parents get here, they won't let you off the hook." His voice echoed through the empty classroom, surrounded by other vacant rooms. No one would be coming anytime soon, and no one was coming to save him. I gave him a cold laugh. "Ha, never thought you'd be scared too. Don't worry, I'm just doing it for fun." The blade instantly sliced across his cheek, then pierced his eye. Hearing his screams filled me with an unprecedented sense of satisfaction. When the blade finally pierced his throat, everything ceased. I sat in a pool of blood, staring at the corpse. Damn, it felt so good. Even if I were reborn 100 times, I'd still kill him. I kind of regret not killing him outright the first time I was reborn. 9. She opened her eyes again, and there he was, Lin Qiue, still awkward and youthful, kicking a ball on the playground. The cheers from the surrounding cheerleaders echoed with his name. This is the third life. I glanced around. It was a shame there were no sharp objects nearby. Lamb skewers were being sold noisily nearby. I walked over to a trash can and picked up a piece of wire. I felt its sharp edge with my fingers and slipped the wire into my sleeve. The match ended, and a crowd rushed over to congratulate Lin Qiue, but he walked straight towards me. He led everyone right up to me, staring with a wicked grin. Tisk, Rinjia, here to bring me water. Fine, if you lick my feet, I might take a sip. The people around us burst into mocking laughter. In this life, Lin Qiue still hated me for no reason at all. I lifted my head and drove the wire through his neck in an instant. Pull it out, then thrust it back in. Lin Qiue clutched his neck and kept backing away, while the surrounding classmates watching the commotion immediately screamed and scattered in all directions. Lin Qiue kept opening his mouth wide, trying to speak, but only coughed up blood, emitting a continuous, guttural rasp. I slowly moved closer to him. Lin Qiue, see you in a bit. In the blink of an eye, I was sitting in the car, with Lin Qiue and his friend waiting for me nearby. This is the second life. Lin Qiue's best friend was driving drunk and killed someone, and now he wants me to take the blame for him. In that life, I spent a full 10 years in prison, and after I got out, I was still chased and beaten by the victims' families. They faced no consequences, while I lost everything. Right now, I'm watching Lin Qiue standing directly in front of my car, saying something with his mouth while frantically waving for me to get out. His phone rang at that moment. Hey, Rinjia, get down now. The police will be here any minute. Get in this car and say you were the one who hit it. I hung up the phone. He approached me with an angry look on his face. I stared at him coldly. Lin Qiue, prepare to die. I shifted into gear, released the brake, and floored the accelerator. The car lurched forward, slamming Lin Qiue into the vehicle ahead. Crash. I shifted into reverse, backed up, then threw it back into drive and surged forward again. The vehicle struck him once more. He looked at me in the car with disbelief. Sirens wailed in the distance. The car repeatedly struck Lin Qiue for 3 minutes. Lin Qiue ended up lying on the ground. His brains splattered everywhere. Time and space shifted, and the objects in the area warped once more. At this moment, I was standing atop the mountain, gazing at the azure sky, feeling utterly relaxed. This is my first life in this world. That familiar mechanical voice crackled to life again. ZZZZT, stop killing him. Don't you want to go home? It's getting agitated, so it does have emotions, yet it just stood by and watched me suffer through every single lifetime. Lin Qiue dies, and suddenly you can't keep quiet. He tortured me to death, 9 times over, and you didn't utter a single damn word. You deserve to die too. At that moment, Lin Qiue was playfully teasing me from across the table. We hadn't met yet, but that didn't stop him from acting like the devil he was. He blew his whistle. Hey, pretty lady, wanna play? You're dressed so nicely, and there's no one up here. Come here, let Big Brother protect you. Ha ha ha. The people around burst into laughter instantly. Brother Lin, you're the real villain here, aren't you? Lin Qiue's gaze hardened with resolve. He was serious now, just like in the first life, intent on dragging me into the tent to assault me. As he moved to step forward, I spoke out to him. Don't move, I'll come to you. That's more like it. There are so many of us. You. I walked quickly toward him, my face expressionless, while a voice in my head kept repeating, don't you want to go home? Boom. I quickly pushed him off the cliff. Ah, his buddies immediately ran off. I gazed at the sky, arms wide open. Come on, then, come and kill me, you bastards, you cowards. 11. The sky roared with a deafening crash. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself lying in a blank, empty space. A woman in white stood before me. As I stood up, she glared at me with fury. Why did you kill him? All you had to do was win him over, make him fall in love with you, and you could have gone home. He's the male lead I created. What gives you the right to kill him? You've shattered my entire world. I chose you specifically as my host. You're supposed to listen to me. So what if he killed you? It was just a bit of torment, wasn't it? You'd just be reborn anyway. Besides, he only hurt you because he liked you and didn't know how to express it. Why couldn't you just forgive him? What was the point of killing him? She was screaming her heart out, as if my killing Lin Qiyu meant her own utter failure. She claims Lin Qiyu is just a character she created, but judging by her obsession, I'd say he's more like her ancestor. In a fit of rage, she grabbed me by the throat, my face flushed crimson as I struggled for air, and just as I was about to black out, a choice button materialized above her head. Time to win over Lin Qiyu. Again, please select your protagonist, the author, or Ren Jia. I stood on my tiptoes, mustering all my strength to reach up and press the button labeled the author. Since you love him so much, you should take care of winning him over yourself. In an instant, all I heard was a single scream. Slowly opening my eyes, I gazed at the pale white ceiling, while the familiar sound of street vendors calling out drifted into my ears. I turned my head, and the familiar surroundings came into view. Tears welled up and slipped from the corners of my eyes. I covered my mouth, crying silently. I'm home, why aren't you up yet? Let her sleep a little longer. It was Mom and Dad's voices. I rushed out of the room and ran to hug my mom. She looked at me with a puzzled expression. What's wrong? Did you just wake up and get all dazed? I leaned against her shoulder, choking back tears. I just miss my mom so much. I'm finally back. And I'll never leave them again. My life has finally returned to peace, with no more scumbags like Lin Qiyu in it. I once had a dream where, in Lin Qiyu's world, there was still someone relentlessly trying to win him over. However, in every life, Lin Qiyu had tortured that person to death. It was as if he had been reborn, always finding her with precision in each lifetime, then tormenting her in cruel ways. They have wanted to kill each other for lifetimes, bound by an endless feud until death. The man knelt on the ground, pleading for mercy. I was wrong. I don't want to complete any more missions. I just want to go home. Lin Qiyu swiftly killed her, then gazed up at the sky. Ren Jia, where are you? The end. That's all for the first story. Don't go away. The next one is even more thrilling. I'm the beautiful but brainless, vicious antagonist. The system tasked me with breaking up the main couple, so I knocked on the homeroom teacher's door. Teacher, I'd like to report that some students are dating too early. The homeroom teacher flew into a rage. Qin Jiaojiao, this is the 800th time you've reported them. What business is it of yours? The school's bottom-ranked student. If the top student and the runner-up are dating. I just stared at him quietly, pulled out his phone, played the recording. Come on, teacher. Say that one more time. One, go ahead. Then, Qin Jiaojiao, how dare you bring your phone to school? Phone confiscated. Mission failed. Mobile 1. Damn it. 2. I returned to the classroom and saw Xia Yubing, the heroine of this book. I never understood why the villainous female characters always hated the innocent, pure-hearted heroines. Now I finally get it. She didn't do anything at all, yet effortlessly made me lose my phone. I must get back at her. What are you doing? I'm working on this math Olympiad problem. It's so tough. I just can't figure out a third way to solve it. Do you know it? See, I have good reason to dislike her. First of all, she was solving Olympiad math problems. Then, she was pondering a third solution. Finally, she had the nerve to ask if I knew it. That damn two-faced bitch. I snatched the workbook from her hand and flipped several pages back. What are you pretending for? There are answer keys right here, and you call yourself a top student, and there's a third solution. I'll just give you the answer outright. How are you supposed to keep up the act now? What a fake, two-faced person. I'm so terrible. Let me see the answer. Skip my ass. You're skipping a question this hard. Money this easy. I want in on that. Xia Yubing rested her chin in her hand, pursed her lips, and looked at me. Well, go on. Why did you stop talking? The whole class turned to look. As the saying goes, fury rises from the heart, and wickedness emerges from one's daring. In for a penny, in for a pound. I tore up the answer key to the workbook right then and there. I was truly wicked. Without the answer key, she had no choice but to solve the problems on her own. When faced with a difficult problem I can't solve, I get upset and sad. Not being able to find a solution makes me start doubting my own abilities. Over time, this can lead to the bad habit of plagiarism, and might even result in dropping out of school. Since you're so good at pretending, don't ever look at it again. I casually tossed the workbook out the door. Xia Yubing was indeed stunned by me, stammering as he spoke. No, this belongs to my deskmate. A disgruntled sigh came from behind. I turned back. This is the male lead, Gu Zhihong, backlit, a young man. Youth. 3. The pain of clinging to love. 4. All the wounds that cling to hatred. I can no longer tell whether love and hate have become like this. Gu Zhihong cut off my BGM. Hold on. Who threw my workbook out? The primary quality of a classic villainess is, of course, the art of flawless framing. I saw Xia Yubing do it. It was her. She's the one. All 30-something classmates turned their eyes toward me in unison. Gu Zhihong frowned slightly, holding his workbook, and walked toward me, getting closer. You're all standing right in front of me. He actually leaned in slightly, as if to take my hand. It's over, I'm about to fall in love too early. The dragon slayer becomes the dragon, just as I thought. If I can successfully frame the female lead, the male lead will choose me instead. This is the world of female rivalry. Chen Jiao Jiao, you're still holding my answer key. Gu Zhiheng pried the crumpled answer key out of my hand. The whole class erupted in laughter. I was completely flustered. In for a penny, in for a pound. I dropped to the ground, wrapped my arms around his legs, and started wailing. You don't understand. She was throwing away your workbook. I only managed to say the answer key. You have to believe me. Why won't you believe me? Gu Zhiheng looked down at me, flustered and at a loss. It's just a workbook. If you threw it away, you threw it away. There's no need for all this. I wiped my tears and stood up. Oh, I threw it. A true villainess knows when to hold back and when to let loose, and getting my clumsy schemes exposed by the wise male lead. That's practically a daily occurrence, right? Never say die. For in the hallway after class I compensated Gu Zhiheng with a brand new workbook. He was too shy to ask for it. You don't need to go out of your way to buy a new one. I shoved it into his hand. You must accept this. I haven't written a single word. Anyway, Gu Zhiheng saw me holding his hand and was silent for a long moment. I don't think it's appropriate, he said. It's perfectly appropriate. Just think of it as me lending it to you to write in. You can give it back to me at the end of the semester. Gu Zhiheng opened it to the title page and held it up for me to see. It read 3 large characters. Chen Jiao Jiao, is this your workbook? He flipped through several pages, all of them blank, and stared at me in disbelief. You haven't written a single word. Do you expect me to do your homework for you? Oh no. You saw right through me. I was speechless for a moment, then stubbornly looked up at his 6-foot frame. Well, you still learned the knowledge, didn't you? So who really got the better deal here? Clearly, you took advantage of me. Gu Zhiheng stared at me for a long moment, then suddenly blushed a little, lowered his head, and smiled. Do your own homework. He slammed the workbook into my chest and walked into the classroom. I stood in the hallway, momentarily stunned. Gu Zhiheng, is he sick or something? What's so funny? What's there to laugh at with me? Is this still the venerable artist known for both virtue and talent? Suddenly, someone bumped into my shoulder from behind. I turned around, and my workbook was snatched away. Deadline's next week, and I'm looking at what you've written. Holy crap, did you just buy this? The workbook slowly lowered, revealing Jiang Zhu's eyes and brows. 5. A villainess always needs a friend with too much time on their hands. That friend is Jiang Zhu, my deskmate and also my neighbor. No worries, I'll put it on the black market. I guarantee it'll be finished on time. There's a black market for that. Yeah, I wrote half of it, then paid someone $200 to finish it. For your situation, it'll probably cost around 500. As the villainess, money is naturally no object for me. Alright, I'll leave it to you. I rolled my workbook into a tube and placed it in Jiang Zhu's palm, but as I did so, my gaze followed the motion and met that of Gu Zhiheng, who was cleaning the blackboard. Seeing that I had noticed him, he tossed the eraser onto the teacher's desk, snorted coldly, and returned to his seat. I was just thinking to myself how moody this guy was when the class bell suddenly rang, and someone bumped into me. Excuse me, a cold, detached voice. Xia Yubing walked right between me and Jiang Zhu, her arms full of a thick stack of exam papers. Jiang Zhu was annoyed. Did I say I borrowed it? You just go ahead. Xia Yubing turned her head and glanced at him. Then I'll give it back to you. Xia Yubing retreated back from among us and walked past again from the side I got bumped into again. Jiang Zhu was momentarily stunned, his gaze fixed on that receding figure. In all my years, I've never seen a girl with such an attitude. Don't tell me you're into her. Jiang Zhu coughed, lowering his head. How could I be? My type is very clear. Sweet girls, like you. Huh, you think I'm some sweet little thing? What are you looking at? I'm your damn father. 6. Before I sabotage the relationship between Gu Zhiheng and Xia Yubing, there's something more important I need to do first. Just steal the phone back. After the last class of the afternoon, I met up with Jiang Zhu and lingered by the office door. When the teachers go to have dinner, we'll pretend to go in and get the exam papers. I've taken care of your workbook. Jiang Zhu showed me his phone screen, displaying his chat history with the black market tutor. This one, didn't you already write about it? It's my friend's. Last time, half the book was 200, this time the whole book is 500. Is that okay? The other side ignored him. Jiang Zhu also sent an absolutely adorable sticker of a kitten bowing its head. Please, I'm begging you. Alright, then leave it at the usual spot. You're not meeting up. Still leaving it at the usual spot. Doing homework for others. Of course we can't meet in person. This way, it's safer. I gave the phone back to him. Does the other side know it's you? Of course I know. Jiang Zhu turned his head to look at me. Mischievous smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. I don't mind. my reputation precedes me. While we were chatting, I kept an eye on the office out of the corner of my eye. Most of the teachers had already left, leaving only one young teacher behind. Jiangzhu and I walked right in, bold as brass. "Hello, teacher. Our homeroom teacher sent us to pick up the exam papers." The teacher didn't pay us any further mind, but the homeroom teacher had hidden the phone too well. Jiangzhu and I searched the entire desk but couldn't find a trace of the phone, except for the inner desk drawer. Just as I reached out to open the drawer, a voice suddenly rang out. "What are you two doing?" Xia Yubing, who appeared at the door, was the one who actually came to pick up the exam papers. Jiangzhu lowered his voice and growled menacingly, "Mind your own business." Xia Yubing lifted her chin, gazing at him with a steady, unwavering smile. "I'm going to tell the homeroom teacher that you and Chen Jiaojiao stole something." Jiangzhu stared at her, took 2 steps back, then leaned down close to my ear. "What did you do to offend her?" I lowered my voice. "Wasn't her sample essay last time titled Chasing Dreams?" I added 3 characters, entertainment industry, to the end of the title. "That's pretty bad." Jiangzhu walked over to her side and gave an exaggerated cough. "Do me a favor." Xia Yubing shot him a dismissive glance. A mocking curl at the corner of her lips. She bumped his shoulder and made to step inside. "Speak properly. You're not listening, are you?" Jiangzhu pressed a palm to his forehead, took a deep breath, then grabbed her wrist from behind and practically dragged her away. After the show, I went to open the drawer. Unfortunately, it was locked. "Chen Jiaojiao." A devil's whisper came from behind me. I stood up straight, turned around, and said in a clear voice, "Hello, teacher." 7. The homeroom teacher's face was dark with displeasure. Gu Zhihong followed him in, glancing at me with a calm, effortless ease. "Come on, Chen Jiaojiao, tell us, what are you sneaking around looking for?" My face flushed crimson as I stammered, unable to get a word out. Gu Zhihong suddenly stepped to my side and spoke up first. "Teacher, I asked her to help me return the key to the archives." Someone jabbed a key hard into the small of my back. I kept a smile on my face as I took the key from behind me. "That's right. I'm returning the key." The homeroom teacher looked at me in surprise, then at Gu Zhihong. "Then what are you here for?" "Let me see if she's here yet." He rubbed his nose. "She's not reliable." Homeroom teacher. "Fair enough." I hurriedly fled the office, turned left into the stairwell, gasping for breath, panting. I suddenly realized something was off, more than just my own breath. I looked up to see Jiangzhu leaning against the wall, his face flushed and his breathing unsteady. "What are you just standing there for?" I almost got caught by the homeroom teacher. He didn't say a word either. I looked around in confusion. "Xia Yubing, where is she?" Jiangzhu snapped back to reality, lowered his head slightly, and pressed his lips together. "She's gone. She said she won't tell the homeroom teacher." I thought he was acting strange, and from my dealings with Xia Yubing, she's really a tough woman to handle. "Are you okay? How did you manage her? You look like you've been." "Let's go. Time to head home." Jiangzhu was evasive as we walked home from school. The dull ache in my lower back persisted, and I couldn't help but mutter a quiet complaint. What rotten luck. Not only did I not get my phone back, but I got picked on too. Jiangzhu suddenly stopped in his tracks. "Who got picked on?" "Well, actually, it was me." I moved closer to him, gazing into his eyes. "How did you?" Jiangzhu's face flushed with a suspicious redness. Just then, a gloomy voice came from behind. "Chen Jiaojiao, come here." 8. I turned around, puzzled, to see Gu Zhihong catching up to me. He stared fixedly at Jiangzhu and me, his expression cold and grim, his lips pressed into a tight line. "Were you looking for me?" He opened his palm, revealing a white phone resting there. "I got your phone back for you." I stared at him, lost in thought. For the first time, Gu Zhihong seemed vivid and three-dimensional in my eyes. The heart in the chest, pulsing, beating, restless. The most absurd part, my famously thick-skinned, universe-level confidence actually felt the heat of the sunset. "Alright, I guess you still have some conscience." I couldn't bring myself to look at him anymore, babbling nonsense. "Just now in the office, you poked me right in the lower back. Really hurt." "What?" "Wait a second." Before the words had even finished, a figure shot past from the side. I froze on the spot. Jiangzhu and Gu Zhihong started fighting. "You bullied her." Jiangzhu's eyes blazed with fury. "All you top students are nothing but scum." Gu Zhihong grabbed his wrist, his face bruised, and looked at me helplessly with a tilt of his head. No, she didn't explain it clearly. I stood frozen in place, thinking what exactly wasn't clear about it. The next second, I spotted a furtive figure. It looked like Xia Yubing slipping into the bookstore. "There's a fight with hot guys, and she's not even coming to watch. That's just way too suspicious." The heart of a villainess instantly blazed with raging fire. I left Jiangzhu and Gu Zhihong behind. "You two can fight it out." I ducked into the bookstore and saw Xia Yubing slip past the bookshelves. Heading straight upstairs to sit in a secluded corner, I approached her from behind. She's been shutting out the world, and she secretly did her homework. Is that how she managed to surpass Gu Zhiheng? I stood on my tiptoes, squinted my eyes, and finally made out the cover. Isn't this my workbook? Oh, so that's how it is. A strange smile crept across my face. Xia Yubing, exhausted, shook out her hands and got up to fetch a coffee. Turning around, she saw me, her face instantly paling with alarm. Qin Jiajiao, what are you doing here? I slowly closed the distance, resting my fingers on her shoulder. You wouldn't want people to find out that the aloof and proud class representative is secretly someone's lapdog, would you? I was absolutely thrilled inside. Who would have thought that Xia Yubing, who acts so high and mighty every day, has such peculiar taste? She stared at me, took a step back, and said in an unnatural voice, I wasn't being a simp, I got paid. You can't call it simping if you're getting paid. Still talking back, I was furious, pressing closer. You wrote the same assignment 3 times. Did you enjoy that? Answer me. Xia Yubing's face flushed bright red. She was speechless, and tears began to well up in her eyes. I just like studying, that's all. Then I'll tell Jiangzhu, I said, turning to leave. Xia Yubing grabbed my arm in an instant. Don't, Jiajiao. I turned back to look at her, cornering her in front of the bookshelf with a shameless grin. Then you'll have to do exactly as I say. Xia Yubing's eyes welled up with tears as she nodded, her expression full of grievance. Just as I was feeling smug and triumphant in front of her, Gu Zhiheng appeared, bearing his injuries. Qin Jiajiao, you run. He was stunned by the scene before him. What are you doing? I immediately straightened up and withdrew my hand. We're doing a force analysis. How do we break down this F? Jiangzhu followed Gu Zhiheng over, but the moment he saw Xia Yubing, his face twisted in horror, and he turned and fled. He didn't even slow down when his head hit the pillar. He just kept running desperately. Gu Zhiheng handed over his phone and said inexplicably, my physics grades are better than hers. Xia Yubing, I was puzzled. So what? Gu Zhiheng gave an awkward laugh. It's nothing, really. 9. So, you're saying you're farsighted. The homeroom teacher adjusted his glasses, scrutinizing Xia Yubing intently. Yes, teacher, I've been sitting in the front row for a long time and my eyes are getting strained. I'd like to move to a seat further back. Xia Yubing rubbed her eyes with her hands and blinked hard. I've seen plenty of nearsighted students, but farsightedness is less common. Which row would you like to move to? Qin Jiajia's seat would be perfect. The homeroom teacher sat back down, nodding thoughtfully. When Xia Yubing emerged, I excitedly stopped her. Did you do everything I said? Did the homeroom teacher agree? Xia Yu gave a cold snort and nodded. Of course, I'm a top student. Why wouldn't the teacher agree? You think they'd treat me like they treat you? That's fantastic. I can be Gu Zhiheng's new desk mate. I see him every day, reading aloud together in the morning, attending classes together, taking lunch breaks together, and leaving school together. I've got it all planned out, following the popular online guides. I'll buy a new bottle of shampoo, the really fragrant kind. Then, when my hair brushes against the back of his hand, he'll catch the lingering scent and be left with a longing for me that lingers in his thoughts. The thought of it makes me smile involuntarily. Hey, why do you want to switch seats with me? Xia Yubing paused. Isn't it great having Jiangzhu as your desk partner? I'll give that right back to you. I just enjoy learning, that's all. On the day of the monthly seat reshuffle, Jiangzhu let out a shriek in front of everyone when he saw who his new deskmate was. What the hell? Who stuck me in the front row? Gu Zhiheng sat down expressionlessly and shot a long, distant glance back at me. Xia Yubing and I were just staring at each other in disbelief. What exactly did you say? Xia Yubing said awkwardly. I really said it exactly as you taught me. I let out a long sigh, gazing upward. Ugh, I can't hang out with you at all. All you do is study, study, study. Can't do anything right. Xia Yubing hugged her books tightly, gazing with a wounded expression at the back of the person sitting in front of her. I took a deep breath. Well, there's nothing for it now but to study. As the teacher was lecturing, he passed by us and stopped. Don't wear perfume to school. This is a one-time warning. Alright, teacher. I and Xia Yubing nodded meekly. After the teacher left, I hesitated for a moment before leaning in toward my new deskmate. Why does your hair smell so good today? She turned to look at me and snapped. So does yours. Oh no, we're watching the same video on those secret little tricks for a girl to chase a guy. 10. In the cafe, Jiangzhu handed my exercise book back to me. All done. I took the practice workbook that Xia Yubing had spent half a month slaving over to finish. Jiangzhu was still going on and on about his complaints. Oh my god, who's pulling the strings behind my back? they actually moved me to the front row. I'm totally done. Now I have to face the homeroom teacher every single day, morning reading, class, lunch break, and dismissal, all of it. I slowly clenched my fist. This was all supposed to be mine, of course. I'm not talking about the homeroom teacher. Over the past half month, Xia Yubing hasn't been paying attention in class. She's been secretly doing homework for others. I clutched the workbook, couldn't help but lift my eyes, staring at Jiangzhu, taking him in. What's wrong? He touched his face. Nothing much. I just wanted to ask, is anyone pursuing you? He looked puzzled. Recently, a few, I suppose. My eyes widened involuntarily, and I leaned back slightly, giving a small nod. Oh, I see. What about you? He picked up his coffee. I looked down and bit my straw. Lately, a few, I guess. Who? You know, that person. Let me think. What was their name? There have been too many. I can't remember. Jiangzhu took out his phone. I have the list of all the students in the school. A sudden silence fell, lasting a full minute. Jiangzhu stared at me, puzzled. I clenched my cup, slumped over the table, and let out a sound of utter shame. No, nobody's chasing after me, not a single one. Are you happy now? Are you satisfied, you heartless bitch? In that instant, everything around us fell silent. Jiangzhu patted my back, and I instantly raised my hand, forcefully slapping his arm away. A crisp slapping sound rang out. I looked up to see Gu Zhiheng standing beside me, a clear red mark left on his face. He smiled wryly and said, "You seem to be my jinx." My face flushed hot. Gu Zhiheng, I didn't mean to slap you. He frowned and took 2 steps closer. Then who do you want to hit? I stepped back and bumped into a chair, making a harsh noise. Jiangzhu stood up and said, "Forget it." Gu Zhiheng stared back at him for a long moment before turning and leaving without a trace of expression. Only then did I dare to breathe again. Coming back to my senses, I saw a mousse cake that had suddenly appeared on the table. Where did this come from? Jiangzhu sat down casually. My new deskmate gave it to me. Now, where were we? I glanced toward the door and said hesitantly, "Speaking of no one ever pursuing me, 11, I was daydreaming the entire class. The biggest fantasy of teenage girlhood surfaces. Could my idol actually like me too? But that doesn't make any sense. He won't even do my homework for me." I turned to look, and there was Xia Yubing again, not paying attention in class, copying lab notes for Jiangzhu. Yeah, that's what real love looks like. The fool. I watched for a moment, then took her pen. No, I can't just stand by and watch you spiral like this. You're a top-tier green tea. How could you let yourself become some tragic simp that's basically turning into a teacup dog, and they don't even know you exist, yet you're skipping class for them all the time? What do you know? I've already found joy in quietly giving without expecting anything in return. Xia Yubing calmly pulled out an identical pen. Besides, you don't actually think I scored hundreds of points higher than you just because I paid attention in class, do you? It suddenly dawned on me. So it's because you've been doing 2 sets of homework all along. She clenched her pen, gritting her teeth, and said, "No, it's because my IQ has always been higher than yours." I stammered awkwardly. "Oh, I'm an idiot." The chemistry teacher just turned around, a cold glint flashing in his eyes, as he slammed the eraser down onto the desk. "Chen Jiaojiao, you like to talk, don't you? Go to the back and talk." The students turned their gazes toward me, followed by a burst of laughter. I gave an awkward smile, holding the test paper, and stood at the back of the classroom. After a moment, someone in the front row raised their hand and spoke in a clear voice. "Teacher, I'm feeling a bit drowsy. I'd like to stand in the back to listen." I was momentarily stunned, my gaze fixed intently ahead. "It's Gu Zhiheng." The teacher was still praising his diligence. Gu Zhiheng stood up and, under the astonished gazes of his classmates, walked down the aisle to my side. I summoned every ounce of my concentration, lowering my head to stare intently at my exam paper. "Classmate, let me have a look." I turned my head and nearly brushed his nose, my voice trembling as I asked, "And what about yours?" Gu Zhiheng didn't notice the closeness in the teacher's hands. The teacher often used his and Xia Yubing's exam papers to illustrate points. Now that Xia Yubing is no longer in the front row, the teacher just uses Gu Zhiheng's instead. I turned away, secretly folding down the score on the test paper, before sharing it with Gu Zhiheng. It's just that every time I turn a page, I have to change the way I fold it. Fortunately, Gu Zhiheng didn't seem to notice my little maneuver. He waited patiently while I slowly finished my test, then carefully corrected and annotated my mistakes. I stared at him and suddenly asked, "Are you really tired? Standing here will keep you awake," he said, turning his head to look at me. "Pay attention in class." I immediately lowered My fingertips gripped the exam paper tightly. What on earth does he mean standing here keeps you awake? Is it because you're standing or because I'm by his side? But he has a faint, really pleasant scent about him. I crept closer and accidentally bumped into him, nearly losing my balance. Gu Zhihong discreetly but firmly steadied my arm. What's wrong? A sudden, inexplicable impulse came over me. You smell really nice. Gu Zhihong gave a confused laugh. Huh, what's that supposed to mean? Oh no, think, you idiot. Think, fine, I'm begging you for the link. Gu Zhihong fell silent for a moment. I'll send it to you when I get back. 12 evening self-study. You had to stand in the corner for a whole class. That's way too harsh. After waking up, Jiangzhu sat in Xia Yubing's seat and started to stand up for me. Tell me, who framed you? I'll help you get revenge. I'll be straight with you, Xia Yubing. Jiang Zhuxing abruptly halted in his tracks. Forget what she said. She's not someone to mess with. Best stay away from her. I stared at him doubtfully. I'm afraid she's normal. Why are you afraid of her? Jiangzhu laughed heartily. Like a fool, I'm not afraid of her. She's a good student. Let's not disturb her studies. What's she been up to lately? I fell silent for a long moment. She's going to Beijing with Gu Zhihong for an exam next week. Then there's the citywide choir competition the week after. Right about now, she's probably practicing piano with that sophomore boy. I mimed playing a few notes on the desk, a duet, plink plink plunk plunk, very impressive. Jiangzhu's face froze. Shouldn't she be studying every single day? I promptly corrected his mistaken assumption. A fulfilling life is full of variety. You think everyone's as idle as the two of us. No sooner had the words been spoken than a pale green envelope appeared before our eyes. Is this Xia Yubing's seat? Look. Someone sent her another love letter. He looked at the boy with an expressionless face, slowly curling his lips. Yes. Jiangzhu grabbed the love letter and rushed straight to the music classroom. I followed closely to see what the fuss was about. Xia Yubing, dressed in a white dress, was playing the piano with great concentration. The junior in the black suit beside her kept glancing at her out of the corner of his eye. Jiangzhu and I were secretly peeking through the window. Wow, that junior is so handsome. Jiangzhu turned to look at me, his expression dark. I immediately corrected myself. It's nothing special. Music paused. Senior, I need to talk to you. Xia Yubing accepted the water from her junior, a polite smile on her face. Yes, what is it? Jiangzhu was about to barge right in, and I couldn't even hold him back. What are you going to do? Jiangzhu and Xia Yubing locked eyes. Xia Yubing was taken aback. You came to see me. Jiangzhu glanced briefly at the junior beside him. Didn't you have something to say? Good luck on your college entrance exam, senior. The junior tactfully stepped out and saw me crouching here, peeking. Senior Qin Jiao. The voice was excited. I didn't look at him, raising a finger to my lips. Shoo. The junior crouched down beside me. There are only two people left. Jiangzhu stood before the piano, extended his hand forward, and handed her the envelope. A love letter. For you. Xia Yubing was stunned for a second. You're giving me. Just as she reached out to take it, Jiangzhu suddenly pulled his hand back, a cold smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. You were actually going to take it? Xia Yubing was thrown off balance by his feint, stumbling forward and crashing right into Jiangzhu's arms. In her panic, one of her hands landed on the piano keys. A discordant jangle of notes rang out. Jiangzhu braced his hands against the edge of the piano, looked down at her, and pressed his lips together. You again? I thought you were busy. 13. I almost cried out in surprise. I felt someone tugging at me from the side. Hey. Junior. Shoo. What junior? Gu Zhihong's face suddenly appeared right in front of me. Ah. He covered my mouth with his hand. Shoo. I widened my eyes and blinked. When did the junior change? Gu Zhihong released his grip, then took hold of my wrist through my sleeve. Bending slightly, he led me away. Qin Jiao. Why are you spying on them? Peeking. I'm not peeking. It's because I was looking too openly that they stopped letting me see. He said with a sigh. You really want to see that badly, don't you? I stood on my tiptoes, trying to get a better look, and you know, I just realized today that Jiangzhu actually looks pretty handsome when he's with Xia Yubing. How come I never noticed before? Gu Zhihong pulled me away without a word, his face expressionless. I don't want to see it, and you can't either. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me down the stairs with long strides. Gu Zhihong, you're such a killjoy. What's your deal anyway? No homework help, no peeking at this. What's even the point of living? In the dim light of the stairwell, he came to a halt. I broke free from him immediately, intending to slip away again, but a long arm hooked around my waist and yanked me back. Overhead, a faint light glowed. Gu Zhihong looked down at me, his lowered lashes casting a shadow. I see, so you think acting like them is what makes it fun? I stared into his eyes, my fingers tightening. my breath catching in my throat. I don't think so. Gu Zhihong slowly lowered his head. The motion sensor light in the stairwell went out the next moment. Everything plunged into pitch black darkness, the kind where you can't see your own hand in front of your face. I steeled my heart, closed my eyes, and tiptoed. A calm voice softly sounded beside the ear. Then go back and hit the books. He snapped his fingers, and the light flicked on. You. Gu Zhihong was stunned. I stumbled back against the wall, looked up at him twice, my face burning hot as if my whole body's temperature had gone haywire. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I pushed him away and ran off. Gu Zhihong snapped out of it and started chasing after me frantically. Qin Jiaojiao, wait up, I'm chasing you. I broke into a full-on 50-meter sprint. I know, stop chasing me. I'm sorry. 14. After that awkward little incident, I decided I would never have anything to do with Gu Zhihong again. Gu Zhihong has been looking for me several times. The moment I saw him, I bolted like I'd seen a ghost. After all, lost love might find its way back someday, but once your dignity is gone, it's gone for good. I spun my pen rapidly between my fingers, propped my chin on my hand, and looked at Xia Yubing. Ahem, didn't someone say they were giving silently, expecting nothing in return? Is that right? This return is way over the top. Xia Yubing cleared her throat softly. I really was giving in silence. He doesn't know about it. I silently looked out the window and sighed. Actually, I shouldn't be worried about you. I should be worried about myself. People's destinies are worlds apart. Who she likes her in return. I'm always making a fool of myself. Qin Jiaojiao, your homeroom teacher wants you to come to the office. I have a bad feeling about this. Sure enough, when I got to the office, I was met with a storm. Is this your homework? The teacher would like to ask why it looks so similar to Xia Yubing's handwriting. The homeroom teacher doesn't need to make a big deal out of the workbook, does he? I had a sudden idea. She's my calligraphy teacher. The homeroom teacher took out a sheet of A4 paper. Come on, show me your calligraphy. I held the pen, motionless for a long while. A sudden, sharp crack of a hand slamming against a desk echoed nearby. Qin Jiaojiao, have you been bullying other students? Was it also your doing when Xia Yubing suddenly switched seats last time? The sound startled me so much that my pen clattered to the floor. Teacher, she did it voluntarily. I didn't bully her. The woman in the black dress suddenly stood up and shoved me. How could my Xiao Yu ever do such a thing? The homeroom teacher quickly stepped in front of me, calmed the woman down, and called Xia Yubing over. Mom, what are you doing here? So that's her mother, Xiao Yu. Mom knows everything. Did you do her homework for her willingly? Xia Yubing clenched her fists, her face darkening. You went through my things again. I heard Xia Yubing comes from a single-parent family. Her mother was very strict with her, which is how she was molded into such an outstanding, well-behaved girl. Judging by her reaction now, it's probably true. Her mother's face turned cold as she let go. Why do you care so much? Why did you change seats? Why did you do her homework for her? She looked up at the homeroom teacher. There's also someone named Jiang Zhu. Have him come in for questioning too. Xia Yubing's face instantly went deathly pale. She bit her lip tightly, unable to speak. She definitely wouldn't want Jiangzhu to see this. I took a deep breath and stepped forward without hesitation. Auntie, no need to look for anyone else. I asked Xia Yubing to write it for me. I had her change my seat. Everything was done at my request. Her mother angrily demanded to meet with my parents. Xia Yubing stared at me in shock, tears welling up in her eyes. Jiao. I winked at her. It's okay. The homeroom teacher dialed the phone over a dozen times before finally reaching my mom, who was overseas. Mrs. Xia kept pressing aggressively, trying to make a big deal out of my character and future prospects, until my mom cut her off with a dismissive tone. Got it. Anyway, the college entrance exam isn't far off. Our Jiao is preparing to study abroad, so as long as she gets her diploma, it's fine. Let her take the time off. I'm in a meeting. Don't call again. Mrs. Xia Yubing's mother was stunned. What kind of mother is that? No wonder her child is so overbearing too. Say that again. I was so furious I was about to charge over. But the homeroom teacher stopped me. Go back to class, Xia Yubing, and I walked out of the office at the same time. She lowered her head, touched my hand, and said in a choked voice, I'm sorry. I turned to look at her, squeezed her hand tighter, and deliberately raised my voice. There's nothing to apologize for. This was my fault to begin with, and my mom wouldn't blame me anyway. Xia Yubing lifted her head and stared at me, her face streaked with tear tracks. Thank you for preserving my dignity. I took out a tissue and handed it to her. Xia Yubing rushed to the restroom and wept her heart out. I was alone, leaning over the corridor railing, staring down at my phone screen with an expression utterly calm. Qin Jiaojiao, I received a call from your homeroom teacher. I'm sure you're well aware of the details. I'll have my assistant pick you up and take you home today. I hope you'll behave yourself. I typed out my reply several times, only to delete it each time. Got it, Mom. I turned around and leaned against the railing, unexpectedly catching sight of Gu Zhiheng in the distance. He saw me too, his eyes lighting up as he ran down the corridor towards me. Qin Jiao. I immediately put my phone away. Gu Zhiheng stopped in front of me. Qin Jiao. I'm going to Beijing with my school teacher for an exam tomorrow, and I won't be back until next week. I was taken aback. Oh. Gu Zhiheng took a couple of steps closer, his voice tinged with caution. What happened before was my fault. I shouldn't have joked with you like that. He furrowed his brow, looked up at me, and asked nervously, I'm sorry, are you still upset? I suppressed my emotions, forced a smile, and shrugged indifferently. None, I was just kidding, but it's a little awkward. He fell silent for a moment. This isn't something to joke about. The voice gives no indication of emotion. Gu Zhiheng lowered his head, gave a self-deprecating twist of his lips, and turned to leave. I hesitated for a moment, then called out to him in the brightly lit corridor. Gu Zhiheng turned around and fixed his gaze on me. Wishing you success on your exam. He gave a faint smile. The day I boarded the plane happened to be the day Gu Zhiheng had his exam. He took a photo of Tiananmen Square and sent me a message in passing. Do you like Beijing? I stared at the red flag fluttering in the wind and replied to him solemnly, I love my country. The plane gradually ascended into the sky. 15. After 3 years, I saw my mother again. Qin Jiao. You've really let me down. How could you not measure up to that girl, Xia Yubing? Didn't I tell you to compete with her? What happened? You bullied her and got caught. The only mandatory system in adolescence is your parents. There's still a tiny, hidden connection between me and Xia Yubing. My mom once had a beloved first love who betrayed her the year she went abroad for work, leaving her for a woman my mom always said was inferior in every way. Xia Yubing's mother, my mom, is the strongest woman I've ever known. After taking a hard hit, she stayed abroad to build her life, and carefully selected the best sperm to give birth to me. She thought I should completely outshine Xia Yubing in every way, so she sent me back to study in China. But now it seems I've let her down again. My mother pursed her lips, gently removed her sunglasses, revealing an impatient yet beautiful gaze. Hurry up. I have to get back to work. I steadied myself, tightened my grip on the suitcase, and ran towards her. Mom. We made our way through the bustling crowd. English announcements echoed all around, but we were the only ones chatting in Chinese. Mom, I saw Xia Yubing's mother. Not only is she not as pretty as you, but she's also really chatty. That just means she's a devoted homemaker. Poor Xia Yubing. Her parents divorced when she was very young. Since childhood, she's not only had to study, but also practice piano. She learned dancing too, and even a bit of calligraphy. Look at her. She's so talented. But I didn't bully her. I know. And as for you telling me to steal the boy she likes, I didn't do that either. My mother sighed helplessly, tilting her head to look at me as she gently stroked my long hair. Fine, she said, her gaze fixed straight ahead. You have no taste. I was abroad, fully focused on preparing for my various exams. Jiang Zhu collected my high school diploma on my behalf. He told me that Gu Zhiheng and Xia Yubing got into Tsinghua and Peking University. Jiang Zhu was hesitating between studying in Beijing and going abroad for education. 3 months later, I picked him up at the airport. Did you break up? Jiang Zhu sat slumped in the passenger seat, his heart as cold as ashes. It wasn't a breakup. There never was a start. I confessed my feelings, but her family caught us. She turned me down, saying she was just messing around. He yanked out 2 tissues, his voice tight with emotion. After this, I've learned one thing. If anyone tries to kiss me again, I'm pushing them away. No hesitation. You didn't know that before. Jiang Zhu fell silent. I was holding the steering wheel when I suddenly asked him, by the way, how long have you known the person who does your homework for you? About 3 years. Jiang Zhu scrolled through his phone screen, unfazed. Come to think of it, we've already graduated, and I still haven't met him. That's no joke. Don't be upset. To be honest, studying abroad is a better fit for you. Jiang Zhu gazed at the foreign streets blurring past, switching to an old, sentimental ballad to express his hatred for Xia Yubing. For every love that clings to pain, for every wound born of hatred's grip, I can no longer tell if love and hate are just like this. Amidst this familiar soundtrack, thoughts of Gu Zhiheng surfaced at the most inopportune moment. If that kiss had happened that night, would I feel this regret now, or is it that I would miss you more? 16. 5 years later, I returned to my home country. I saw Gu Zhiheng again at an investment cocktail reception. The cocktail party required attendees to arrive in pairs and adhere to a dress code. I had just returned to the country at the time, and Jiang Zhu was introducing me to his social circle. As I walked through the event on his arm, mingling and making conversation, I unexpectedly ran into Gu Zhiheng and Xia Yubing. I was mortified. Xia Yubing was equally uncomfortable. The two men beside me seemed to be locked in a silent contest of who could appear more unflappable. I immediately pulled Jiangzhu away. Did you know we'd run into them? I came specifically for that woman. Revenge is a dish best served cold, Jiangzhu said, swirling his wine glass. I was too naive back then. Now, I'm going to show her how cruel the world can be. He narrowed his eyes slightly, staring at Xia Yubing's retreating figure, and finished the entire drink in one go. I glanced at him and thought he was definitely no match for Xia Yubing. I'll take my leave then. Jiangzhu clamped a hand on my shoulder. Don't run off. She's got Gu Zhiheng by her side, so I need a beauty by mine too. Otherwise, I'm losing. I was held hostage by Jiangzhu, half dragged, half pulled, until I reached Gu Zhiheng. Hey, isn't this my high school classmate? You look great. Long time no see. How have you been lately? I made a move to pat him on the shoulder. Gu Zhiheng looked at me expressionlessly, shifted his body aside, and gave a faint, almost imperceptible twitch at the corner of his mouth. Not bad. Damn. This just got even more awkward. Jiangzhu walked up to Xia Yubing, raising his wine glass, pressing forward step by step. Mr. Xia, care to join me for a drink? Surely you won't turn down such a simple request. Xia Yubing took the glass, held it close to her chest, studied him for a moment, and then suddenly smiled. I'm afraid I must decline. I'm currently trying for a baby. The sound of a glass shattering came from nearby. I turned to look. Jiangzhu accidentally crushed the wine glass in his hand. He stood frozen in place, his face blank, holding a rigid posture. His finger was cut by a shard, and blood dripped down. Xia Yubing was also taken aback, her face flushing with panic. She quickly crouched down and used a handkerchief to wipe his fingers. Mr. Jiang, I was just joking. Are you alright? Jiangzhu stared at her, his lips pressed together. He opened his mouth and said, I'm hurt, me. Xia Yubing helped the injured and dazed Jiangzhu away. Gu Zhiheng and I remained where we were, the atmosphere suddenly turning icy. Mr. Gu, I'll be going now. Goodbye. I turned around and took a deep breath. Just as I was about to step forward, Gu Zhiheng called me back. Wait, MS Chen, MS Chen, I guess you mean me. He glared at me coldly, stepping closer, his voice utterly flat. Your friend took my date away, so shouldn't you make it up to me? Wait a moment, I'll get back to you right away. I turned around, bent down, and called Jiangzhu, but the calls kept getting cut off. Didn't you hurt your hand? How come you're hanging up so fast? Who exactly are you trying to show the harshness of society to? The man's palm pressed against my waist, its searing heat instantly silencing me. Then it's you. His voice carried a deep, magnetic tone. Gu Zhiheng lightly wrapped his arm around my waist, weaving through the crowd. Despite his youth, he carried himself with a humble grace, engaging in lively conversation with the industry's heavyweights. When drinks were offered in his honor, he accepted every toast without hesitation. I stayed by his side and ended up drinking quite a bit myself. By the time the reception ended, I could barely stand, holding on to the hallway railing. I staggered forward and nearly fell. Gu Zhiheng caught me from behind. Are you alright? I leaned my whole weight against him, my mind in a fog. Suddenly, I wrapped my arm around his neck and, on impulse, rose onto my tiptoes. Gu Zhiheng's gaze flickered with surprise, then he lowered his eyes and bowed his head. My lips brushed against his cheek. He turned his head along with her, his breathing suddenly turning heavy. 17, could you hold this for me? My foot's killing me. I placed a high-heeled shoe into his arms. I stepped barefoot onto the carpet and bent down to take off the other one. Gu Zhiheng, whom I had used as a support, radiated a chilling cold from head to toe. He tilted his head back and let out a soft sigh. The next moment, Gu Zhiheng scooped me up into his arms and carried me all the way to the car. After what felt like an eternity, I was tossed into a warm, fluffy cloud, dreaming I was catching fish in a river. I opened my eyes, pushed myself up, and looked down to see someone soaking my feet, which snapped me instantly awake. Gu Zhiheng. I immediately pulled my foot out and placed it on the floor, quickly putting distance between us. This looks like his place. Gu Zhiheng stood up, towel in hand, and said in an ordinary tone, don't you want to wipe it off? I sat on the edge of the bed, looking down at Gu Zhiheng wearing suit trousers. He knelt on one knee, dried my feet, applied a band-aid to the abrasion on my heel, and then put on my slippers. I made to stand up. Thank you. Gu Zhiheng fell silent for a moment, then grasped my ankle. Why didn't you reply to my message 5 years ago? Forced to sit back down, I looked at him and asked, what message? He lifted his head, his eyes fixed on me. The one where I replied after you said you Loved your country. I was stunned. I was on a plane, so I didn't know you'd replied. I changed my SIM card later. I couldn't help but ask him, what did you send? He lowered his head. Nothing. My piqued curiosity was abruptly stifled. The heart in my chest sank slowly. Then I'm off. The tip of my toe just touched the floor. Gu Zhiheng suddenly stood up, tracing his hand from my ankle up to my calf, then pushed me down onto the bed. What are you doing? He stopped right in front of me. Xia Yubing and I are just casual friends, we're not even that close. I brought her out to Lord Jiangzhu here, hoping I might run into you. What do you mean? My heart was pounding. He leaned in slowly, his lips meeting mine, again and again. This is what I mean. I looked into his eyes, my face burning, my mind a complete blank. Gu Zhiheng, you've changed. He stared at me, unblinking. His eyes were dark pools, his Adam's apple bobbed sharply, and his voice came out hoarse. Do you find me interesting now? When I woke up, my phone was full of missed calls from Jiangzhu. I called him back. Where were you last night? You didn't answer my calls. You're the one who ignored me first. Aren't you back together with Xia Yubing? Jiangzhu snorted coldly. How could that be? Do I seem like that kind of person to you? I cut him off. So, you slept alone last night. There was a brief silence on the other end before he replied. This is me getting back at her. Pure, simple revenge. And how long is this revenge going to last? Or are you only going to stop when she says so? Fuming with embarrassment, Jiangzhu hung up the phone. Gu Zhiheng leaned against the doorway, watching me with his arms crossed and a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips. Good morning, Chen Jiaojiao. You really know how to sweet talk. I blushed instantly. I curled up in the soft duvet, hiding myself away. 18. I dug out the old phone Gu Zhiheng had stolen back from me all those years ago and saw the text message records from 5 years past. Do you like Beijing? I love my country. My gaze froze uncontrollably on Gu Zhiheng's reply. I like you. Why are you ignoring me? Are you thinking it over? You can kiss me. I have an exam starting now. It's 2 hours long, so I can't reply. Just leave me a message. I'll read it later. 3 hours later, I'll come back for you. 2 days later, you don't love your country. You don't love me. And I don't love you either. I like you. Sorry to bother you. My heart felt a sharp, sour ache, like a lemon that had been crushed to pulp. 5 years later, I finally replied, I like you too. I'm together with Gu Zhiheng now. The relationship between Jiangzhu and Xia Yubing remains complicated. Xia Yubing is too proud. She doesn't want Jiangzhu to see her true self, preferring instead to pretend to be free-spirited and unrestrained. It's just awkward. Really, Jiangzhu was once again someone whose simplicity and spontaneity had reached the extreme. He saw Xia Yubing as a distant, idealized figure, like a white moonlight, so he wouldn't push her too hard. A few years later, both Gu Zhiheng and I were getting married. While the two of them were still going through breakups and reconciliations, Jiangzhu was on the verge of going mad from the torment at the wedding welcome area. I took a photo with Xia Yubing as a memento. So, you're never going to tell him you did his homework for 3 years? Her smile faltered for a moment. If he knew I've liked him for so many years, she said quietly, I'd feel inadequate. It's almost inevitable to feel a sense of inferiority when you're facing someone you truly adore. Then have you ever considered that maybe the reason Jiangzhu is so gentle with you is because he feels just as insecure around you? Xia Yubing turned her head in shock. Staring at me, I handed her the bouquet and said, he's almost convinced you don't like him anymore. Her hands trembling, she took the bouquet, bit her lower lip, and hugged me tightly. Chen Jiaojiao, you're the most wonderful girl I've ever met. Her voice echoed in my ear. I still remember back in high school, when Jiangzhu and you were so close, I used to envy you so much. You were pretty, sweet, and kind-hearted, even though your grades weren't great, yet I deliberately mocked you. You were like that innocent, sweet heroine. While I played the scheming side character, my mind was in a turmoil. So when I envy her, does she envy me too? In our own minds, we're all the villainous, yet in the eyes of others, we're each the fortunate heroine. We judge ourselves with the harshest gaze, yet admire our rivals with the gentlest eyes. Inferiority and arrogance twist and tangle, gradually warping into something else. I bowed my head and gently held her in my arms. You're the most amazing girl I've ever met. Maybe you should check out my idiotic female lead script and story too. Jiang Xinyu is a newly emerging talented director and also a model husband. I'm not in good health, so he always finds time to see me. Despite his busy schedule, even every night when he's away, he will hum songs to lull me to sleep. That night, I couldn't fall asleep for a long time. A woman's teasing voice came from the other side. Are you still being lovey-dovey with her? He chuckled softly. My CC is already fast asleep. Now it's your turn for me to coax you. Look at how you're pouting your little mouth. I've already reported it. I'll be yours for the next 3 days. In an instant, the sweetness turned into coldness. It turned out that his so-called night shooting was actually spending the whole night with someone else. With tears in my eyes, I called the director of the hospital. I'm willing to participate in the closed medical experiment. Later, he stared blankly at the videos all over the room and begged me to come back like a madman, but I will never turn back. The little assistant in the hospital was holding a stack of materials and introducing them to me. Miss Gu, let me confirm with you, the 20th of next month is the enrollment date for this experiment. At that time, you will participate in this secret research for a year and a half. I nodded. Okay, I understand everything. Seeing that the contract had been signed, she smiled and started chatting casually. I saw in the news that director Jiang is just holding the premiere of his new work on that day. This movie is also based on your love story. Back then, director Jiang had nothing, and it was you who took out all your savings to support him in chasing his dream. Now that everything has come true, it's really enviable. When the experiment is over and your body recovers, you might just be able to catch the awards ceremony. I smiled bitterly and shook my head. He doesn't know anything about my participation in the experiment. Moreover, I've already decided to get a divorce. She covered her mouth in surprise and apologized repeatedly. My assistant Xiao Xiao came to urge me. Sister Shi, it's time for the scheduled massage. Director Jiang has already reserved a private room. Because of my weak body, Jiang Xinyu has arranged a full schedule of nursing programs for me, such as massage therapy, meditation, and yoga. When I arrived, my favorite English song was playing in the hall, and the aroma diffuser I liked was also lit in the private room. Everyone gathered around and greeted me one after another. Hello, Miss Gu. And they all tried to curry favor with me just because I once praised a little girl. He directly waved his hand and gave her a luxury car. Everyone said, Miss Gu is really lucky. Director Jiang is so talented and also an infatuated man, which is really rare. Yes, the whole world knows that he loves me very much. After becoming famous, he always mentions me in every interview, and the first person he thanks is always me. He also insists that everyone should not call me Mrs. Jiang but only Miss Gu. People were puzzled. Isn't it a romantic thing to have your name preceded by my surname? He explained affectionately to the camera. I insist on always putting her first in everything. She is Gushi first, and then my wife. I suddenly felt like laughing. What's the difference between this so-called deep affection and the false flattery in front of me? I pretended to be sound asleep and didn't want to listen anymore. By next month, I will say goodbye to everything here completely. When I got home in the evening, he was busy in the kitchen. When he saw me coming back, he immediately untied his apron and gave me a gentle hug. Honey, you can watch some anime for a while. There's still the last dish, the king crab you like. It will be ready soon. When he's not busy, he will come back, cook and then accompany me to eat. He was arranging the dishes on the plate, focusing as if he was dealing with a work of art. I once advised him not to be so troublesome, but he didn't care at all. It's not troublesome at all. If I arrange it more beautifully, you'll be in a better mood and maybe eat 2 more bites. After a while, he answered a phone call and rushed over in a hurry. Honey, there's an urgent need to reshoot a night scene tonight. I can't accompany you. You stay in bed and cover yourself well. Don't catch a cold. It's another night scene shooting. I twitched the corners of my mouth. What kind of movie are you shooting recently? Action scenes. He was stunned for a moment and then quickly explained. We're shooting a movie about us. You know, the movie is just short of the final finishing work, to perfectly recreate our story. I always strive for perfection and execute it with the highest standards. You'll know when you accompany me to the premiere next month. He actually used shooting our story as an excuse to have a private meeting with someone else. He talks about perfection, but he has the heart to tear open a crack with his own hands. Didn't you tear this crack open with your own hands? He leaned in to kiss me, but I dodged. Cece, don't be angry. After I'm done with this busy period, how about I accompany you on a vacation? At 10 o'clock in the evening, he called me on time from the film crew. My dear Cece, it's time to go to bed. What song do you want to listen to tonight? Or should I tell you a story? I sighed in my heart. Okay, I want to hear the story of the rascal. There was a moment of silence on the other end, and then he asked cautiously, why do you want to hear such an unlucky story? Have you met anyone recently? I said indifferently, forget it, it was just a sudden idea. Half an hour later, I didn't respond to him anymore. There were several sounds of opening and closing the door from the other side, until that familiar female voice sounded. Mrs. Jiang, you're not asleep, are you? Director Jiang really loves you. No matter how long he wants to keep me here, he will always settle you down first and coax you to sleep with his own hands. Have you ever had a nightmare in such a tender embrace? Jiang Xinyu came back and asked her in a low voice. Who are you talking to? No one. I was thinking of changing a song for her for you. His tone became a bit anxious. How dare you touch my phone without permission? How do you know her preferences? Be careful. Cece has a weak heart. If you dare to play tricks in front of her, you'll never have to come to me again. The female voice replied coquettishly. Yes, Director Jiang. Your little is so well protected by you that I wouldn't dare. I just want the money. No one is more obedient than me. Jiang Xinyu's voice was hoarse. Just want the money. Huh, you're quite honest, Jiang Xinyu. I pretended to be talking in my sleep and called out his name. There was instantly no sound on the other end, and the phone was immediately hung up. Yes, these days, I've had quite a few nightmares. The past beauty has been replayed in my dreams over and over again, and I've been doubting and loathing myself again and again, and I've been caught in this impenetrable net of tenderness. Again and again, everyone is reminding me that we used to be deeply in love, and he really loved me. I fell asleep with tears in my eyes. When I woke up in a daze, he was sitting by my bedside with a worried expression. Cece, why do you have a fever? I was just about to carry you to the hospital. I thought I was in a dream, so I pounced on him and hugged him tightly, asking, you don't love me anymore, do you? Why did you leave me behind? Why do you love someone else? His big hand patted my back gently and carefully wiped away my tears. His eyes were full of affection. No, Cece, I will only love you in this life, and I will never leave you behind. He will rush back immediately and repeatedly emphasize that he will always love me. But how could he have the heart to betray me and make me feel heartbroken? As long as he hides it from me, can he pretend that nothing has happened? But my heartache is too real, and the calm expression on his face in front of me is also too real. After a moment of suffocation, I was carried to the hospital by him. I was back in the place I used to be most familiar with. I have a congenital heart problem. Since I was a child, I was sent by my parents to the most top-notch sanatorium abroad, and I was always alone. That winter was extremely cold, and I could hardly hold on. At that time, I found him by the bench, wearing thin clothes. He was firmly holding a camera and shooting the ray of sunlight on the withered tree. When he saw that I looked sickly, he approached me with the camera in his arms and said he wanted to take a photo of the most beautiful smile. That was the first time I learned to smile. Later, he took me to follow and shoot homeless people and the little girl selling flowers on the street. I suddenly didn't want to live in isolation anymore. I wanted to step into the crowd and live a passionate life. I persuaded my family to give up the treatment here, returned to China, took out the savings left to me by my parents, and fully supported him in pursuing his dream of becoming a director. I was only 15 years old that year. He was indeed very talented and seized all the opportunities to show his abilities. He attracted a large amount of attention just by making a self-produced MV in only 2 years. When I was 17, I was the innocent female lead in his MV and was carefully taken care of by him. 3 years later, the box office of his debut film was a huge success, and he confessed his love to me at the celebration banquet. He understood my vulnerability and also knew my strength. I had seen his downfall and accompanied him on the road to fame and fortune. When I was 22 years old, I married him on the most beautiful grassland, snuggling up to each other. He said I was everything to him and would never let me down in this life. 3 years later, on this day, he left me alone in the hospital and rushed to meet another female lead. Cece, I've told the nurse to take good care of you. What do you want to eat? I'll come and accompany you as soon as I'm done. Wait for me. I looked at the post sent from an unknown number. Mrs. Jiang, it's so boring to pretend to be sick. You'll get tired of it after 1 or 2 times. I never show weakness. I will just say, Director Jiang, I don't understand a certain scene. Can you come and teach me? On the messy bedside, his tie was tightly tied together with her bow. So, in the last half-month before leaving, I spent most of the time alone in the hospital. Cece, a sudden urgent shout came, and the customers in the hospital cafeteria all turned their heads. It was Jiang Xinyu. His hair was messy, and his tie was also crooked. He was full of panic and immediately pulled me into his arms. Cece, why did you run away without saying a word? My heart almost stopped because of the scare you gave me. I couldn't help but frown. Are you blaming me? But it was you who left me behind first. He sighed and took the food tray from my hand. Just tell me what you want to eat, or I can go back and cook it for you. Okay, there are a lot of people here, and I'm afraid you'll get bumped into. It's my fault. I shouldn't have left you alone in the hospital. I thought you were used to it. When he saw my face turn pale, he was filled with remorse. I'm so stupid. I said the wrong thing. I thought you had a private ward and the most professional medical staff were by your side all the time. I was careless and didn't consider that what you needed most was me. I interrupted him, I want to see the fireworks. He smiled with his eyes narrowed, okay, we'll set them off for a whole day and night, after this movie is finished. How about I accompany you abroad to recuperate? Although your illness hasn't recurred in recent years, I still can't put my mind at ease. If I lose you, what's the point of winning all the awards for my movies? Jiang Xinyu, do you really care so much about me? If you knew that I was really leaving forever that day, how panicked and at a loss would you be? I became a bit curious. A woman in a red dress with delicate makeup approached and was about to put her hand on his shoulder. Director Jiang, you made me look for you everywhere. The red carpet is about to start, and the producers are waiting. There will also be a press conference after it to build momentum for the new movie tomorrow. It was exactly that familiar female voice. I recognized her at a glance. She was the female lead in his costume drama 3 years ago. Song Yu, did they start that early? Jiang Sinyu's face turned ugly, and he directly blocked her with his phone. Who told you to find me here? I'm going to stay in the hospital with Cece. I don't have time for the film festival. She turned to me and reached out her hand. Ah, this must be Mrs. Jiang. She's really beautiful, pitiful, and makes people feel sorry for her. Shut up, she's my wife, and you're not qualified to comment on her. If you like to dress up so much, go walk the red carpet by yourself. Although he was saying words of disgust and scolding, his eyes kept glancing at her from time to time. I could somehow sense a bit of an ambiguous atmosphere. I pushed him away. Do whatever you want. But he drove her away and then caught up with me. He sat at the dining table and helped me peel the shrimp. Cece, eat more shrimp to supplement protein. I'll have someone airship a batch over tomorrow. I just learned a new way to cook it. He gently tucked a strand of my hair behind my ear. You'll be discharged from the hospital tomorrow morning, and in the afternoon, you can just attend the premiere of The Sunlight and You. I've already matched the dress for you. Don't cry tomorrow. Let's set off the fireworks next time. I don't want there to be any mistakes with our movie, so I must be there. I nodded. Okay, I'll attend on time. Just ask the driver to send me. You just need to wait. When he turned around, I grabbed him and asked if he had any regrets over the years. He smiled and hugged me. Cece, meeting you is my greatest luck. It would be really ungrateful of me to say I regret it. Don't think too much. Be good. See you tomorrow. As soon as he left, the phone in my hand slipped. On the screen was a screenshot of the chat record from 2 minutes ago. Director Jiang, I'll hold your arm tightly later. Stop making a fuss. Go and amuse yourself. This is a testament to my love for Cece. Don't you dare to tarnish it. The black evening dress is what I prepared for you. Let's meet at the Jingting Hotel tonight. When he hugged me, was he looking forward to the date with her in his heart? Well, then I won't regret everything that's about to happen either. Although I originally wanted to leave quietly, I told him that I would record a surprise video and play it after the premiere. The next day, half of the media in the whole city was mobilized, and there were countless press releases praising director Zhang's beautiful love story. The beauty of the sun can't compare to your affection, but he couldn't get in touch with me no matter what. Chapter 2. The end of love. He kept making phone calls to me, my assistant, the nanny, and the caregiver. Either the calls couldn't get through or they replied that they didn't know where I was. Others urged him, Director Jiang, the premiere is about to start. We can't wait any longer. No, I'm feeling very anxious. I have to go find her. Director Jiang, how can you leave at this moment? Looking for someone isn't urgent at this very moment, but it would be bad if you break your promise to the public. He gritted his teeth. Start as planned. I'll send someone to look for her. Xiao Xiao relayed the live situation of the premiere to me in real time. The movie began with a ray of sunlight in the hospital in winter. Among the old people with gray hair in the hospital yard, there was a young girl, gentle and quiet but pale-faced, staring blankly at that ray of light. A down-and-out wandering photographer appeared and wanted to help her take a photo of the most beautiful smile and help her find happiness. The audience present whispered, my God, the delicate young lady and the wild artist, they are so cute together. In their eyes, there's actually pity and admiration for each other. I heard that Director Jiang's wife has had a heart disease since childhood, and Director Jiang has always cherished her like the apple of his eye. It turns out that they first met in the hospital. Just then, someone from the hospital called him and said that I had a sudden heart attack and was urgently sent abroad for treatment. Everyone saw that Director Jiang, who was sitting in the first row, answered the phone and stood up in a hurry. The always gentle Director Jiang roared, my wife is in trouble. Why didn't you tell me immediately? How is she now? Where has she been sent? What the hell is this so-called secret treatment? The hospital soothed him. Please calm down. All the reasons will be told to you in the video after the premiere. Please be patient. His body moved forward uncontrollably, and he fell to the ground. The assistant and the investors beside him rushed to help him up and asked what had happened. His face was full of pain. Cece, her heart disease has recurred. I've been by her side every day, but she refused to tell me. She found a treatment team on her own and was sent abroad. Cece, how could I let you face this alone? We promised to go through thick and thin together. He has directed others to act in so many scenes. I really doubt that sometimes he can even deceive himself. Others comforted him repeatedly. It's okay, Director Jiang. Miss Gu is a kind-hearted person and will surely be blessed. Since she's already being treated, she will definitely be fine. My God, this is big news. Director Jiang's wife's illness has recurred. In order not to hold Director Jiang back, she secretly went abroad. I'm so moved that I could cry actually. When I saw that the movie started in the hospital, I had a bad feeling. It seems like a doomed tragic ending. Song Yu, wearing a white floor-length dress, slowly moved towards Jiang Xinyu's seat from the corner. Jiang Xinyu frowned. What are you doing here? There's no seat for you here. Song Yu smiled and waved the banner in her hand at him. I'm a loyal fan of Director Jiang. How could I not come to support him? The director immediately projected this scene onto the live broadcast on the screen. The movie was showing the part where I was impressed by Jiang Xinyu's vitality and talent. I took the initiative to give up the treatment, followed him and escaped from the cage that protected me but also bound and oppressed me. Then I took out my savings to fully support his career and helped him with the promotion. I learned how to do makeup, kept trying to improve my expressiveness, and became the only female lead in his MVs in those years. Only the first half of the movie was shown at the premiere. After watching it, everyone wanted more. During the break before the interview, they discussed it eagerly. They really understand and appreciate each other. Miss Gu admires Director Jiang's talent and vitality, and Director Jiang feels sorry for her frailty and loneliness and is also impressed by her sensitivity and sincerity. It turns out that many famous scenes in Director Jiang's movies were achieved with Miss Gu. She's good ideas at this time. Finally, some fans noticed Song Yu. Look, here's another pair of a bull, a good judge of talent, and a 1,000-li horse. Miss Yu was discovered by Director Jiang. She reached the peak as soon as she debuted and directly became a top young actress. Just like Director Jiang, Miss Yu knows how to show gratitude. She always buys out all the tickets for Director Jiang's movies. My divorce agreement happened to be delivered to Jiang Xinyu's hands. He opened it in a hurry and turned pale in an instant. He suddenly remembered the surprise video I mentioned and shouted at his assistant, "Tell them to pause the video quickly, don't play it." The next second, our divorce agreement appeared in the center of the video. This was the agreement he drafted and signed overnight when he was too excited to sleep after proposing to me. My voice sounded, "When you proposed, you said that in order to remind yourself to always love me, you gave me the initiative to step back. I don't regret meeting you, but from now on, we have nothing to do with each other." Everyone looked at each other, unable to believe what they saw. In the middle of this love feast, such a cold dish was served. His face was full of anxiety and pain. "Cece, no, how could you give up on me? You promised me that you would accompany me all the way, whether I'm down and out or wealthy, whether your illness can be completely cured or not. I will always be with you. You can't push me away unilaterally." He kept refuting and denying, but in the video, I just remained silent for 2 minutes. I continued, "Actually, I originally wanted to let you go and leave quietly by myself. But I changed my mind. I shouldn't be the only one suffering." Those chat records were all shown. Song Yu's provocation, those ambiguous and explicit recordings and pictures, all shocked the audience. Director Jiang, who was famous for making literary films and was always gentle and elegant, turned out to be so dissolute in private. And Song Yu, the seemingly bright and charming newly emerging young actress, actually used such means to rise to fame behind the scenes. People on the film set saw that he always sacrificed his lunch break to come back and accompany me. If he couldn't come back at night, he would stop what he was doing at 10 o'clock and call to urge me to go to bed, humming songs and telling me stories. It was such a person who was deeply in love that, in a flash, he smoothly pulled Song Yu into his arms. "My CC is already fast asleep. Now it's your turn for me to coax you. Look at how you're pouting your little mouth, you little vixen. You really have me wrapped around your finger. Now you can lie so easily," always saying you need to shoot night scenes and even asking the assistant to help me cover it up. Fortunately, Cece has always believed me and has never come to check up on me. Song Yu coquettishly said, "Besides me, does Director Jiang have other beauties hidden?" Jiang Xinyu pretended to be angry. "Are you trying to pry into my affairs? Don't you know that I've only kept you by my side in the past 2 years? Don't cause me any trouble." Song Yu giggled. "That's true. Your little wife is always sickly. How can she be as bright, lively, and full of energy as I am, Jiang Xinyu got angry. "Shut up. If you say one more bad word about Cece, you'll never appear in front of me again. Remember, only smart people can stay by my side for a long time." Then, there were sounds of clothes being torn and someone begging for mercy. People at the scene were whispering, and some bold ones even posted it online directly. Jiang Xinyu rushed up to Song Yu and pushed her down to the ground fiercely. "Who gave you the guts to provoke Cece? If something happens to her, I will definitely drag you too. Don't you know that she has a weak heart? How dare you send all these to her without my knowledge?" Song Yu turned pale and kept waving her hands. "It's not like that. I really didn't expect her to fight to the death and not care about your reputation at all, and she even chose this important day." Jiang Xinyu slumped to the ground and murmured, "She must be heartbroken. She won't forgive me." Ignoring all the dissuasion, he ran out, got in his car, and drove back to the villa. The producers looked at each other, still wanting to salvage the situation. They reluctantly started the interview session. All the prepared questions from the reporters and paparazzi were rendered useless, but the excitement in their eyes could hardly be hidden. "May I ask if you knew about Director Zhang's actions? Does he have a histrionic personality?" He claims to love his wife deeply on the one hand, but on the other hand, he has an affair with someone else and has deceived and hurt her countless times. Is the movie going to be taken off the shelves before it's even released? Can the investors talk about their feelings at this moment? The biggest selling point of the movie, which was true love, has actually become a negative point. What marketing direction will the film side choose next? An elder wiped his sweat and held the microphone tightly as he explained, "The matter hasn't been settled yet. Please calm down and don't jump to conclusions so quickly. Actually, no matter what the truth is, those genuine feelings did exist, and our movie is of high quality. I believe it won't disappoint everyone." All the people in charge left in a hurry. The carefully prepared premiere eventually ended in a farce. Rumors of a marriage breakdown, infidelity, and Song Yu being the mistress were all exaggerated and spread, with many details added by others. When Jiang Xinyu got home, he was devastated to find that all my things were gone. The dresses and jewelry he gave me, the documentary films we shot together in the past, and the thick stacks of narration scripts and promotional drafts that I helped him polish were all gone. I had erased all the traces of my existence. He opened the previous chat records, saw his repeated deceptions, and saw the opportunities one gave him to confess. Finally, he lay on the ground and cried bitterly. How could he not understand my determination? As he was crying, he found the box under the bed. He opened it with trembling hands and found that it was full of movie ticket stubs from his movies. I had watched each of his movies so many times. Under the movie tickets was a piece of paper. "Perhaps you won't forget how much I loved you, but I no longer have the energy to look back on the past and continue loving you." His assistant rushed over in a panic. "Director Jiang, there's overwhelming negative public opinion online. They say that you should quit the entertainment industry and that they will boycott all your movies. The most annoying thing is that Riri Media, many of its influential big accounts used to be at the forefront to help us refute rumors and do promotions, but now they've directly deleted their accounts and run away. It's really adding insult to injury." Jiang Xinyu was shocked. "Riri, I never knew that. Although she was sick, she was still silently doing so much for me. I always regarded her as a delicate flower in a greenhouse, but it turned out that she had been charging ahead for me all the time. Now I can't even say the words to beg for her forgiveness." With red eyes, he suddenly became determined. "No, this movie is the only bond between us now. I can't let it be destroyed. I want it to be passed down for 10 or even 100 years. I want her to see it." The assistant was puzzled, "But many investors are demanding that we pay the liquidated damages. And the public opinion is also boycotting us." "I'll deal with it." Then, 2 statements quickly topped the trending searches. Apology statement. "Cece, I deserve to die. You are the love of my life and my salvation, but in the end, it was me who pushed you into the abyss. I have no face to ask for your forgiveness. I just hope you take good care of yourself. Dear colleagues and fans who support me, I'm sorry for disappointing you. I have nothing to defend myself with. It was me who stained art." Statement of quitting the entertainment industry. "From today on, I will withdraw from the entertainment industry. I only beg you to give this movie a chance. I will donate all the profits from the box office to medical research institutions." People scolded him and also felt sorry for the situation. The model couple of true love that everyone once envied, one was missing, tortured by illness and emotions, and the other was surrounded by scandals and had to leave the industry in a sorry state. A netizen posted, "Where's Song Yu? She's quietly hiding away. Neither of them is a good person. One wants beauty, And the other wants wealth and fame. Gushi's illness outbreak is definitely related to her provocation. Song Yu, come out and apologize. My assistant Xiao Xiao was telling me the latest development of the situation when the people from the medical team came over. Miss Gu, the stimulation experiment is about to start. The results of the previous relevant examinations have all been recorded and saved. Don't worry, we will closely monitor this clinical trial throughout the whole process. To make the experimental data more accurate, please try to keep your emotions stable. I nodded in agreement and asked Xiao Xiao to take my phone away. Let this be a chance for my heart to take a breath. Finally, I can let go of all the worldly affairs and focus all my attention on my organs and cells. In the past year and a half, I didn't receive any news about Jiang Xinyu every day. I just lay quietly in the advanced ward, sometimes having my blood drawn, taking medicine, and cooperating with the examinations and surgeries. During a stimulation experiment in the later stage, I fell into a brief coma before losing consciousness. The figure of Jiang Xinyu no longer appeared in my mind. I only had one thought: I want to live well, just for myself. A year and a half later, my medical experiment ended successfully. Relying on these resources and experimental data, I successfully underwent the surgery within half a year and then returned to the same sanatorium for recuperation. Time went back to winter. Xiao Xiao wrapped me up tightly and pushed me outside to bask in the sun. As if sensing something, I looked ahead. Not far away, Jiang Xinyu was staring fixedly at me, not even realizing that the camera in his hand had dropped. He looked as embarrassed as he was back then, with a stubbly beard and carrying a black canvas bag on his back. Nothing seemed to have changed. Yet everything seemed to have changed. He had become haggard and tired, and the lively light in his eyes was no longer there. As for me, my face was ready. Having just heard Xiao Xiao's joke, there was still a faint smile on my lips. With red eyes, he rushed towards me in disbelief but stopped in front of the wheelchair, not daring to get closer. Cece, it's so good that you're still alive. I knew you wouldn't leave like this. Heaven won't treat you and me so cruelly. It's all my fault. I was so greedy that I wanted to stay by your side while also accepting the flattery and ambiguity from other women, until I made a huge mistake. But I never thought of letting you go. For the past 2 years, I've been blaming myself and feeling guilty every day and night. I can't lose you again. I'll go crazy. I backed the wheelchair up. Jiang Xinyu, I'm indeed alive again, but I'm just Gushi. I'm no longer anyone to you. Go away. I don't want to see you again. Xiao Xiao turned the wheelchair around, and he hoarsely shouted behind us. We've been in love for so many years. How could you have the heart to let us end up like this? I said silently. You can control the ending of the movie, but in reality, things are often unpredictable. I no longer care about the sunk cost. Things have come to this, and we should look forward. I returned to the top floor with strict security, and he was blocked outside. According to Xiao Xiao, over the years, he had donated most of his wealth to top heart treatment teams in various countries. Trying to get news about me, it didn't take long for him to come to this sanatorium. He stubbornly wanted to wait for me to appear and wouldn't leave even if we tried to drive him away. In China, due to various considerations, the movie The Sunlight and You wasn't taken off the shelves. Instead, it rushed into the top 5 of the domestic box office within just 1 week. Originally, many people weren't interested in this kind of movie made by a famous director that was similar to a love documentary, but now, after hearing the gossip, they all went to the cinema to join in the fun. The pleasure of finding sweetness in the bitterness seemed to be able to tug at people's hearts even more. I'm crying so hard. Such a sweet and innocent love was brutally turned into a fairy tale version by reality. They understood love at such a young age. It's just a pity that they didn't learn how to cherish it. Sisters, what should I do if I can't get over it? Will even the deepest and most solid love and marriage break down? Should I still believe in true love? In the sanatorium, Jiang Xinyu prepared dinner boxes for me day after day. When I sat on the balcony looking at the stars and the moon, he would just sit cross-legged on the ground outside the fence and eat his meal. Cece, I haven't had dinner with you for a long time. Now I have a lot of time. I just want to stay by your side. He would set off fireworks above the sanatorium every weekend. Cece, you wanted me to watch the fireworks with you that weekend, but I broke my promise. Can I make it up to you now? You don't have to forgive me. I just want to be able to stand by your side and look at you. The food boxes piled up more and more outside the fence. Even in winter, a smell of spoilage gradually wafted out. I had to reach out, open one of the food boxes, and ask him, Jiang Xinyu, can't you see or smell it? I don't need the food you cook with your own hands anymore. Look, our love and marriage have long been like these delicate meals, rotting, changing color, and deteriorating. It can never go back to its bright and fresh appearance. His expression suddenly turned, and he knocked over the food box and started vomiting. I thought that since you were willing to come back here, it meant that you were willing to start over with me. As long as I was sincere enough. Song Yu's voice suddenly sounded unexpectedly. Director Jiang, you made me look for you everywhere. She walked closer step by step. I'm being shouted at and chased after by everyone now and have no hope of making a comeback because I love you so much. I admit that at first, I did it for money and fame, but later I really fell in love with you. I'm not willing to accept it. Why can Gushi get your unique preference? Just because she's rich and has a pitiful appearance. How long can she live anyway? Jiang Xinyu suddenly slapped her hard, knocking her to the ground. Sure enough, I was blind to have taken a fancy to such a vicious woman like you. You've ruined both Cece and me, and yet you still haven't given up. Song Yu's hair was disheveled on one side, and her face was full of tears and unwillingness. How can I give up? You've told the investors not to hire me anymore. I've been sidelined by the company and sent to that kind of place to earn money to pay the liquidated damages. Who can be as ruthless as you, losing the one you love and having nothing left? This is all your retribution. Director Jiang Xinyu went completely crazy. He looked back at me, then grabbed her and pushed her down with all his might. You shouldn't have appeared. From the beginning to the end, you shouldn't have appeared. This was the 10th floor. I motioned for Xiao Xiao to call the police and also contacted the hospital staff to come for rescue because there was a protective net on the 6th floor. She didn't die from the fall, but her legs were severely hit by the window ledge, and she became paralyzed. She also became a bit delirious. Sometimes she said she was a movie star, and sometimes she said she was Director Zhang's lover. When the news reached China, none of her relatives or friends were willing to come and pick her up. So she had to be sent to a mental hospital. Jiang Xinyu was taken away by the police for investigation. Since the criminal facts were clear, and there were surveillance videos and witnesses, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. 3 days later, I was called to the police station by a phone call. Jiang Xinyu changed back into the white suit he wore on the day he confessed his love to me. His eyes were full of sadness. Cece, can you accompany me to watch a movie one last time? The movie about us. This is the opportunity I've exchanged for everything I have. Tomorrow, I'll be officially imprisoned, and I don't know where I'll be taken. I nodded silently just like that, with handcuffs on, under the supervision of the police. He and I walked into the cinema that had been reserved in advance. The whole cinema was silent. The young boy and girl in the movie were having a touching first encounter. In our youth, the girl experienced the torture of heart disease again. At a critical moment of life and death, he stayed outside the room every day, exhausting everything to extend my life. Later, he experienced the biggest setback in the history of directing. His new work was cursed and attacked, and it was awarded the Golden Broom Award. Everyone laughed at him, and he almost couldn't recover. My heart felt as if it had been hit hard. It turned out that he had anticipated the occurrence of these things. He must have rehearsed countless times in his heart the crisis that I might be taken away by the illness in advance. Indiana the movie, he was awakened by nightmares countless times, and then he would hug me tightly with tears in his eyes. I finally understood why he had persisted in coaxing me to sleep every night. He was even more afraid that one day, his works would lose their inspiration and be ruthlessly abandoned by the market. In the movie, we supported each other and made it to the end. Our marriage was happy, and we achieved both fame and fortune. He gave up everything and accompanied me on vacations and trips everywhere. Under the setting sun, the two old people with gray hair were snuggled up tightly. At the end of the movie, 2 lines of words slowly appeared. The warm sunlight is not as beautiful as your eyes and eyebrows. Gushi and Jiang Xinyu, for a lifetime, accompanying you with deep love. But in reality, these 2 things happened at the same time. We each endured the pain we deserved. He didn't watch me go through the 2 difficult years of treatment, and I didn't accompany him through his most painful and disheartened days. Even at this moment, as the prototypes of the movie, we didn't even have the right to sit next to each other. I unconsciously shed a tear. Regrets can always be let go of, and I was only moved by this complete story. I slowly stood up. Jiang Xinyu, the movie you made is really good. I believe it will win an award. He was stunned, then smiled with a sense of relief and waved at me. When I took 2 steps, he suddenly shouted loudly, Cece, you. I knew what he couldn't let go of and explained to him. Actually, my illness has completely recovered. There were tears in his eyes, and his throat moved. If there really is such a day, please help it receive the award. After all, you are the Zeus of the whole story, and I will never look back. I paused. Okay, take care. When I stepped out of the cinema gate, the sun was shining brightly outside, and the dark door was closed. The faint sound of the handcuffs seemed to be hidden away as well. On the large screen of the opposite shopping mall, the nominations for the Film Festival Awards were being shown, and The Sunlight and You was at the top. Suddenly, my phone rang. I had been admitted to a top foreign film academy during the days of recuperation. I did a lot of preparation work and also reviewed a foreign language. I was about to study film art and take courses related to screenwriting. Our story had ended, and my independent artistic creation had almost just begun. I believe that one day, I will also be able to create touching works that can be recognized and nominated for awards, and it will definitely be clean.